In 2007, my constituents lost friends and loved ones because of the mass shootings at Virginia Tech. Students and teachers heard the sound of gunfire long before they saw the shooter. Some were able to use that time to hide or escape. If the sound of those shots had been muted or distorted, many more people might have died. Across the country, dozens of cities, including Washington, D.C., have deployed technologies that are able to identify based on sound exactly when and where shots are being fired. This information enables law enforcement to more quickly respond to dangerous situations. We can measure the results in lives saved. In Richmond, in my district, we recently saw 8 shootings in 8 days. Preventing gun violence is a matter of life and death for many of my constituents, and it is appalling to think that we would entertain legislation that would make these deaths more likely than not. Mr. Chipman, would not easier access to silencers make active shooter situations even more dangerous?
Anytime an active shooter situation takes longer to recognize as an actual shooting would cause more injury and death.
And Mr. Chipman, you are aware of the Pulse nightclub shooting in Orlando?
I am.
And of course the Emmanuel African American Episcopal Church shooting in Charleston, South Carolina?
I am.
Based on your experience as an ATF agent, do you believe that the bill before us today makes it more likely that deadly weapons would end up in the hands of the kinds of people who committed these atrocities and other mass shootings in our country?
This bill in particular would make silencers more readily available to criminals, because for the first time in 80 years, private parties could sell these guns without background checks on the internet and in gun shows. And this has never been the case before. And one of the reasons that we have not seen silencers out there in tons of crimes is the fact that we have a regulatory structure that makes it very difficult to get these. It is true that if you use a silencer in a crime, you can get a very serious sentence. But as an ATF agent, you know, my job was to prevent the bad thing from happening in the first place. And so what you want to do is keep silencers out of the hands of people before they use them in a criminal way. And our structure today is doing that, not all of the time, but better than other dangerous weapons that aren't regulated in this way.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, I yield back.